Our topic, we're helping you create your virtual dream team. What does that mean? Well, we have our special guest today. Robert Lee's coming to us with the Lessex agency. Lessex. I think do I have it right, Robert?
Lesix,
At least
Lesix,
I knew it. See,
Lesix.
I knew it. So it's like it might be my Rochester accent. It's like Rochester, Lessex.
I I will tell you what, it doesn't matter the accent. I get it all the time here in Georgia with that good little southern twang. When people say, "Oh, the Lessex agency, that's nice. What does it mean?" So it's all good, man.
Well, glad to have you here. Why don't you introduce yourself? You're from Georgia, like you said, but originally from
hmm
Wyoming. Is that right?
Correct. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I love
So
Wyoming.
yeah, live in Georgia. I came from the part of Wyoming that you don't see in Yellowstone. Grew up in Cheyenne, and my old
Cheyenne.
man was a car salesman, and it's a long country album of heartache and heartbreak as to how I ended up here in Georgia, and honestly, how I started using AI and getting involved in real estate. And here I am living the dream.
Well, welcome to the show today. Where do you want to get started? We're talking about our trailer for this was build your AI dream team, your virtual employees. I think people see that they get a little nervous, right? Like,
hmm
oh no, what's gonna happen? But where do you want to start?
Well, the thing about AI, and I'm sure you talk about this all the time too, is that it's important to understand why this stuff matters so much. And it's important to understand why and what motivates you to build your dream team using AI employees like we have. For me, it comes down to the fact that just a couple of years ago, I was wound tight. Probably, I mean, we met at what the first RIA conference in 23, right? Probably about
Yeah.
9 months before that was when the wheels started coming off in my own life, and my wife and I lost our boy when she was 7 months pregnant.
Oh my God.
And
Sorry to hear that.
it started a process that, and I don't want this to be a woe session, but 6 months later, I lost my old man. 4 months after that, literally the week before I flew out to Vegas for that RIA conference, I made the decision to close down a $2 million marketing business because I had literally run it into the ground for 4 months while I was just losing it. So fast forward a couple of months, I had time to be at home with my wife and girls and kind of remind myself why it is that life is so precious and life is so sweet. And that was just about the time that AI was becoming uh, ubiquitous. Everybody was starting to use it, talk about it, see it, play with it. And I started to say, all right, this is where the future of the economy is going to go. I might as well jump in. And I started to realize that all the things that I did really well could be done even better with AI, and here we are. So that's
Yeah,
my why statement.
that's awesome. So when you were looking at like, if I'm a real estate agent, which I
hmm
am, but if I'm a real estate agent who's like struggling or just feels overworked, because I think a lot of agents that I speak to, like, I don't have time for the marketing. I don't have time, because I'm busy working in the business. Like, I don't even
hmm
have time to learn AI. Like, where should I begin? What should be the starting point for me?
Process, believe it or not, it has nothing to do with understanding AI because there are
Right.
thousands of platforms out there that anybody could use. And now you're seeing Manus come out in the last, what, week, where you're starting to see agentic, autonomous agents acting on your behalf and whatnot. But really, what it comes down to is knowing what your processes are for selling homes, listing homes, marketing yourself, supporting your customers and your clients. Because if you can't tell people what you do as a process, yeah, you're a real estate agent or you're a broker, but guess what? You don't have a business. Because if you don't know process, you don't know what you're doing. So just by starting with that, that gets you light years ahead of what everybody else is doing with AI because it gives you the foundations to go out and actually build your business processes inside of artificial intelligence platforms. And that's what we do. I mean, that's what we've done so that we're not overworked and chasing our tail and chasing our client's tail and trying to just struggle to find a few moments of time to have a conversation like this or enjoy a cup of coffee or take a nap or whatever it might be that helps you through your day.
Yeah, I always like to say, like with AI, it helps you to work less, right? Or be more
Hmm.
efficient or sell more. It all depends on what your goals are. I think we're always chasing that delicate balance, that quality of life, like you said. So if I'm an
Hmm.
agent looking at my processes, my systems, should that be kind of where I start? Start kind of like detailing everything that I,
100%.
yeah, detailing every part of the
Yeah.
process, like listing, working with sellers, working with buyers, the prospecting part of it, or the follow up that may
Hmm.
not even exist with different phases of my business.
100%. Because once you identify all that, you can start to identify the things that you can put into your AI employees, and you can identify the things that really make you enjoy what you're doing and really leverage your artificial intelligence as a part of the team. I mean, think about it this way: when you hire somebody to do work for you, you're essentially asking them to do the same thing that AI should be doing for you, free up your time. So if you can define how an employee does it, you can define how AI does it. And if you can't tell somebody else how to help you, you're never going to use AI to the effect that it can be. And that's really what you should be focused on, right? Is explaining how people can help you so that you can go out and help people the same way.
So you have to kind of slow down, take a break, pause, and really take a look at your
Mm-hmm.
business, right? I think that's so hard.
100%.
So hard for some of us.
It is. It 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 and I mean you're a seasoned agent, right? I got my license just to be able to understand the struggles for the people that we serve. And I don't plan on doing a ton of transactions, but I can tell you that every meeting I've sat in, every time I've heard people talk about how to do this, it's always been frenetic and unfocused and complicated. And it shouldn't be. It should be just nice and chill and calm and easy
Relax,
and
easy.
relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So
So,
I get the systems down.
mhm.
Let's talk about like the automation, the AI employees. Like where does that start?
Sure, sure. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and just kind of
Oh,
walk through a few
okay. Let's
slides
do
to
that.
kind of walk through the process,
Yep.
and then that'll help you see it, and then we'll start playing around with it because we actually have an AI employee to create AI employees.
Oh,
So when
okay.
we're talking about,
A
yeah,
headhunter.
it's really wild stuff. That's it. That's it. We call it the Toby Flenderson of AI employees, but with more personality. And
Right.
everybody who's an office fanatic seems to understand what that means. So, but when you look at your AI employees, there's really only three things that you need to worry about. And when we talk about what those three things are, we first want to focus on what the processes are that we are going to automate because it doesn't matter what the process is. As long as you have those three components, you're good. And to find those processes that really help, that AI can help you with, is you want to identify the constraint in your business. And I'm going to let the secret out in real estate, it's time, it's valuable use of time. That's the thing that limits your capabilities to grow your business. And that's the same regardless if you're a broker or an educator or an agent, or even if you're in one of these support industries like mortgages or appraisers or whatever it is. It's time. That's the biggest constraint because it's oftentimes just us. It's you and it's me, and we live in our own little worlds. And once you identify that time is your biggest constraint, you can figure out ways to maximize the value of your time and do what we call exploiting that constraint. And that's where we start talking about using these AI employees. And then the other three steps are really just focusing your ability to make your time more valuable and how it is that you can make your AI employees better, either by adding a new one or revisiting the processes that you defined so that you can go out there and do even more in even less time And I keep coming back to naps in the afternoon, but I love an afternoon nap when it's quiet in the house and there's no kids around, and I can just turn off the phone and just be in peace and quiet before my aggressive little goblins get home from school and start yelling at me about something.
Right, right. The
Um,
calm before the storm.
and oh god, it's so nice. It's so peaceful. But the first component to do this is you just have to be able to tell your AI employee what to do. And when I say what to do, it's essentially a job description. You want to be able to define what the purpose of the role is, what the sense of professionalism, that's the value that our AI employee provides to us, or who the ultimate customer of the process is. And you want to define that personality profile. And I know real estate professionals love their DISC assessments, but I'm going to challenge you to think about this in terms of
Yeah, they do.
MBTI,
Yeah.
because I don't use DISC at all, but I love Myers Briggs because each one of those little type personalities have very subtle ways of processing information and explaining information differently. And if you can incorporate that, you give your AI and employee a way to explain very subtle differences between the same concept that actually help it do its job better. Now, when we talk about how to do it, that's the second thing. These are just your work instructions. This is defining the process in terms of the individual steps that focus on the information that you collect and what you ultimately produce. And then finally, you just need data, training context. Because, look, I will argue this until the cows come home, and people initially think I'm crazy when I say it, but prompts are kind of stupid because AI doesn't function off prompts. AI functions off data. And when you look at the nature of the way AI is built, it collects all of this massive amount of information that averages it out. So, since we do marketing, I always speak about it in this context. If you're a horrible marketer, AI will make you better to average, but it will never make you better beyond that. And if you're a good marketer, then AI will actually dumb down what you say, which is why it is we see so many people posting garbage content because they have great prompts and very little data behind
Right.
what it is that they're saying. But in many cases, you can provide reports, case studies, tables, and information. Hell, man, you could even record yourself in your voice recorder of what you understand about a topic, and you can upload the transcript of that, and that will be better than any sort of prompt that you can use because it's actually giving your AI employee some understanding from your perspective of what it is that they're supposed to do. And as long as you have those three things, well, you're ready to produce an AI employee. You're able to create a custom GPT or a Claude project. I'll show you ours in Claude that we talked about. But even the apps that you pay $15 a month for are essentially built off this concept. Somebody provided training, somebody provided instructions, and somebody provided a persona to be able to help you write that perfect social media post. But it still lacks your data, and it still has the pieces though. So it's getting you close, but not
So
as close as
if you're
you
talking
need to
about
go.
social media, then would it be like just a bunch of previous posts that I may have created, right? In my brand personality,
Hmm.
my brand voice, just kind of copy paste, or could you to just take screenshots of those or a combination of that? What would be the best way to do that?
Yeah, no, I mean, when it comes to social media, what I do is every 3 months I go in and see which one of the posts I've made have gotten the most comments, and not just the most comments, but the most comments and the interactions for the way that I've wanted to get that feedback, right? So if I have a post that really is just engaging, and people either want to argue with me or tell me how wonderful I am. I really like those posts. Then I'll copy and paste that and put it in a Google Doc and drop it into my knowledge base. And in fact, that's what I do. I've also taken some training I've received from people I would consider mentors. One of the best kind of copywriters out there for social media is a guy named Jeff J. Hunter. The dude is absolutely brilliant. And I've taken training that he's given me and pumped that into my knowledge base. And it has a bunch of different pieces of content that I've pumped in to be able to write the social media posts that I do in the tone that I want to write them in for the purpose that I want to write them. I mean, I work with real estate professionals like you. You're the people I want to actually feel and see and understand what my posts are. And all of that training is provided to my AI employee. So I can actually pull up my Claude app on my phone, simply talk to it using the voice recording method, and it'll write me a post in like 13 seconds in my voice, specifically my voice.
Nice. And so I think what I'm hearing that's very different is making employees that are just for specific tasks, right? Like I hear some people go,
Hmm.
"Oh, I'm gonna have an AI agent be my real estate assistant." But what I'm hearing from you that's different is like this one does social media, this one
Hmm.
does copy for marketing. I don't know, I'm making it up as I go, right? So each one has a very
No,
specific. Is that right?
100%. 100%. See, the nice thing about AI, this is the thing that's beautiful about it, is the problem we have with human assistants is we ask them to do too much. We're not very specific with humans. We just say, I just need you to help me. I just need you to do this for me. And when they ask you, well, how can I help? Or I don't understand your instructions, we tend to get frustrated. Well, that's
Right.
kind of our fault, right? If we need them, it's our responsibility to explain to them very clearly. And the best way to do that is focus your processes, your AI employees, on one valuable output. So not only can you break it down to social media, you could even go more specific to that and say, I have an AI employee for Instagram content and TikTok content and LinkedIn content and Facebook content and Pinterest content. If that's if that's up your alley, X content. I mean, there's no reason you can't create an AI employee for each one of those things to be able to be very specific to what those platforms do and how they function. And again, there's no limit. $20 a month, you can build as many custom GPTs and Claude projects as you want.
Okay. So then that's the next question. I was gonna ask you like where do they all work? Where's
Yeah,
the building where they report for duty kind of a thing? So
sure,
that'd be
sure.
perfect.
So I personally I love Claude. It's not it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that OpenAI is built into ChatGPT, but from my perspective, it is absolutely the best platform right now for managing internally your AI employees, right? We use ChatGPT for things like sharing AI employees with other people. So, I mean, I'm going to provide a link to you to these two employees that I'll show you.
Hmm.
But they're built in ChatGPT so that you can use them. But if you take the information and train your employee the right way, I would personally recommend you do it in Claude. And all you have to do is just create a project, and then you can provide your custom instructions for that project. So these are the custom instructions for our AIE HR manager. You can upload your knowledge base, which you can see the persona here in the training context, which I just uploaded as PDFs. You can see here that I've got all these different, different AI employees that I built, some for clients, some for me. I mean, I'm going to write a book in like 3 weeks, or rewrite a book, I should say, in 3 weeks, uh, because I want this. Everybody who's smart writes a book, right? Well, I went through the
Right.
process and just basically provided some information and produced all of the base documents that I could put into a Google document, and in 10 minutes get all the research I need done, focus exactly what I need to do on the process, and we'll go through that right now, man. I mean, tell me what sort of process you would want to create an AI employee for, and I'll show you how it works.
LinkedIn blog posting.
Okay.
I want to be
We're
seen as
trying to write.
an area expert for Cheyenne and Wyoming. So I want to do like
Good.
a weekly blog.
God bless you for it. God bless you for it. Trying to be seen as a locale expert for Cheyenne, Wyoming real estate. Man, we're going old school with it, going to Cheyenne. I think exactly 18 people have moved in since I left years ago.
I don't know.
Um,
Wyoming's growing leaps and bounds, man. All those California
for
folks are
Wyoming
cashing
standards, it
out on
is.
their houses and they're going to Montana, Wyoming, Colorado.
Hmm, yeah, Yellowstone has been a bad, bad show for that state for that reason. Too many people moving in. Um, although I'm a transplant here in Georgia, so I guess I'm part of the problem too. But now, when we say it's going to, you can see here that the AI employee is asking you questions, right? What are we trying to produce? We're trying to produce LinkedIn blog post and be seen as a local expert for Cheyenne, Wyoming real estate. Who uses your work product? We'll say potential property, let's say investors, right? Who are looking to buy rental properties in Cheyenne, Wyoming, right? Very specific, but again, it's a nice thing here. We can be as specific as we want, and the more specific we can be, the better. And we'll say that, right? Potential property investors who are looking. Why is the work product valuable? So now it's asking you a question, and you're just providing a clear answer. So we'll say Cheyenne is a hot market, but still a bit unseen. In other words, lots of potential upside for those investors who want to diversify their property out west. Right? So doesn't take a lot. And if you have any sort of documentation, this is where you can upload some notes that you've taken, or maybe some sort of training sessions that you've done on this very topic, whatever it could be. If you don't have any,
Could could
just
you
say,
like if there was publicly available information about Cheyenne and like like census data and I think other
mm-hmm.
kind of reports or market reports, anything and everything that you could find on the area, could you just dump it all in there?
Anything that you could absolutely do. Anything you can provide that would help give this AI employee enough data to help you direct what it is that you do to create the AI employee for that specific purpose. So in this case, we'll say we don't have anything beyond what we've given you. And then now it'll start going through the process. So the work instructions that we provided this AI employee told it, ask for this information. And then once all of that information is collected, it's now creating the AI persona, right? You're a real estate content specialist that specializes in creating LinkedIn blog posts highlighting Cheyenne, Wyoming real estate market for property investors. So that's the purpose. Your purpose or your professionalism is to help potential property investors by producing informative and compelling content that shows them the return on investment. So in other words, we're defining for the AI employee why our content would be important for those people to see. And then it picks the three best Myers-Briggs type personalities to explain that information and produce that information, right? So ENTJs, excel at presenting information clearly and persuasively, forward thinking. This is your general type personality profile. An ENFJ, exceptional at communication, understanding audiences. So now you're combining your ability to be persuasive with your ability to feel and hear your audience. So it's processing information in a very, very unique way. And then an ENTP type personality, these are the types of personalities that explain very difficult concepts and very what could potentially be complicated concepts in very easy ways. So essentially what we've done is created a job description that if we were to interview somebody for this, if we were to hire a social media specialist, we would want to go through this with them. And we would want to make sure that they communicate this information in the right way. And all we have to do at this point is just copy this over to a Google Doc, create a new tab, and we're good to go. And then we just say, looks good, continue. And the funny thing about all of this too is while it's writing, it's taking longer right now simply because I'm telling you how it works. You could literally get through this in about 20 seconds and you have something to work with at this point, right? So the work instructions that we would give this content generator would focus on, you need to identify what the post is about. You need to gather that market data. So you ask the question, can we upload specific information about the market? Absolutely. Data, statistics, property examples, whatever it might be. Define our target audience. So what type of investor are we talking about? Out-of-state investors, experienced landlords that are local, first-time property investors. You're going to have a different type of post for each one of those. Investor pain points. Why is it a problem for them? Create some sort of description about the unique selling proposition. And then finally, once your AI employees collected all of that information and data, it drafts your LinkedIn post and you're able to review or refine. It'll create an image suggestion or even a prompt if you draft it that way. And then it'll give you a plan for some follow-up content that you can add to it. So this AI employee, what's wild about it is that we have this so dialed in terms of what we want to train our AI employees to do, that it's actually helping us to do forward-thinking activities that provide other AI employees with valuable information. So we can take this blog post and drop it into splinter content and create 5 or 6 different Facebook posts or Twitter posts or something from this very thing. There's our work instructions. And then now we say, looks good, continue. And now we're going to get research topics that we can provide that training data on as well.
And so
So things like
the previous steps there, is that because you've taught your AI that already? So if I'm starting from scratch and I've never been on Claude because I'm a GPT guy, then I would have to start with that. Like, here are the steps that we want you to follow. Kind of give it very specific instructions to start out, or do you have, like you said, the AI employee that can help us create the AI employees?
So this AI employee, it's actually trained with the same information in ChatGPT as it is in Claude. So it really is agnostic to whatever platform you want to use. But I'll go back to I'll show you right here, right? The persona, this is the persona. It looks exactly the same as it does that we just created. Purpose,
Holy cow.
professionalism,
Yeah.
Myers-Briggs. The knowledge base and the training context, this is all just basically research about process and understanding. So all of the stuff that is biblical knowledge for us when it comes to process management, from Deming and Goldratt and Lean Six Sigma, which hint hint, that's where the company name comes from, Lee Six, combination of Lean Six Sigma. All of that stuff is dropped in here in the training context. And we actually can take these research topics and drop them into Perplexity and just copy the answers that we get with all of the different sources and whatnot. And you can see here that we just kind of did a quick review and dropped all of that knowledge in here. That is the same thing you would do on ChatGPT as you would in Claude, because it's the process. The process doesn't change regardless of the platform that you're on. So if I go into ChatGPT and I look up, we got to log back in here. Bear with me. If we have to
I love when
log back in here.
you have to sign back in, and then, well, at least you don't have two-part verification. Sometimes I gotta go.
Yes. So chat. This is the interface you're familiar with, right? And
Looks like
you
home.
can see here it looks like home. Absolutely. For most people, it is. But when I go in to edit this GPT, it's the same information, right? I just have to update, I just have to drop in the instructions, which I did here, right? You can see the instructions as they're written. And here's my knowledge base. It's the same thing. It's just a matter of which language model you like the best or for whatever purpose you want to use it for. Obviously, I can't share with anybody a link to our Claude project, but I can share with everybody, and I'll share with you a link to our human resources manager, aka the Toby Flenderson of AI employees. So it all functions the same way. You know, you use a custom if you use custom GPTs, it's the same way as you use a project. I mean, that's the nice thing about it.
Yeah. So with this, like, just so they understand, I was watching this on the playback with custom GPTs in GPT, you can share a link to that directly. So then they'll have access
Correct.
to this exactly what they're looking at. But you don't have that capability
Correct.
on Claude. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay.
So, and again, you know this, right? AI platforms, they have their own little nuance differences. The reason we use Claude is because it's a better analysis tool in my mind. So it's able to understand instructions a little bit better. But from the perspective of being able to share this with everybody, the custom GPTs can't beat. So,
So
but
you
that's it. So we have,
you mentioned perplexity. Talk a little bit about that
mhm.
because many people may not have heard of it or be
Yeah.
familiar with it.
So Perplexity is another language model. This one is really oriented towards uh, research. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. So, for example, if I go back into that chat that we created here about Shine Wyoming real estate, I can say these are my research topics, right? These are the 10 pieces of research that I want. I can actually
Gotcha.
copy that, go into Perplexity, and say, I need answers to these questions. Paste it in there. Oh, and I hit stop or I hit start too soon because I'm an imperfect human being. And it'll go through and find sources and try to answer all of those different questions that we provided to it. And what it will do is give us actual sourced information that we can use to train ourselves and our AI employee as to how to understand the answers to those questions. And it's really cool. You can do that inside ChatGPT as well. So,
Yeah, I was going to say, how does this compare to the search feature or deep research feature on GPT?
uh, so I'll actually do both. And in ChatGPT, I'll go in and do the same thing and just say, I need to understand this. Paste it in there, select my deep research, and it'll do the same thing. And so when I go back to this AI employee, these two sets of training context on process and HR training and understanding process and what it is. One of these is actually a deep research output from ChatGPT. The other one is actually a series of Perplexity answers that I developed, right? And in this particular case, I didn't do any sort of the voice recordings because I thought the research nailed it pretty well for the questions that I wanted to answer. So, and you can see with ChatGPT, right? It'll ask you further questions. Do you need data for a particular investment strategy? You know, we would just answer the questions here. So, all investment strategies to, yeah, let's compare with Colorado Front Range. 3, yes, no, all opportunities. 4, understand all policies. I mean, we're just answering questions here, right? And 5, I want as deep analysis as possible. And we'll let ChatGPT do its thing with its deep research. And it's going through and giving you all of this information that it's going to go research. And we can go back to Perplexity, and you can see that it's giving us very good answers. And the great thing about Perplexity is you get the related questions at the end. So we can answer questions like, let's follow up this one. What are the most promising neighborhoods for real estate investment in Cheyenne? And now we're collecting all of this data and information, our AI employee, on information that we want to convey in your social media posts, specifically your LinkedIn blog posts. So, I mean, but that's it, right? I mean, that's the process. It's not much more complicated than that. That's all you need to do. And again, you can do this all over the place. I've done this to create dad jokes that my girls ask for. And so, I mean, just last night, my elder daughter was saying, "Hey, can we talk to AI to get some jokes?" Absolutely. They're the worst dad jokes on the planet. But
Yeah.
the ones that she laughs at, I'll make a little note of, and we'll upload that to the knowledge base.
That's funny because it has me thinking. I was on TikTok and there's these they're avatars, um, but they're like robots. One's robot and the other one's like aliens, and all they do is tell dad jokes. Right? They're not real
Mm-hmm.
people, and all they do are tell dad jokes, and they have millions of followers. That's the account, faceless video, and they could have done
Mm-hmm.
something like this, like come up with the dad jokes and put that into an avatar creator or digital human avatar and just crank them out. You never have to be on camera
Yep.
if you don't want to be.
Nope. Nope. Well, and what were you talking about the other day, right? 11 Labs.
Yeah,
You
yeah, the
can
voice agent.
script. Oh my God. You can script out specific types of scripts for specific voices on 11 Labs,
Yeah,
so
I
that
know.
a younger woman has more of a younger woman voice versus an older gentleman who has more of an older gentleman voice. I mean, there's very specific words that people use, and I'm sure you're like me. You don't understand what the hell anybody's saying under the age of 25 these days because they're just making stuff up.
Yeah, skibbity.
Yeah, I still don't know what that understands
It
or
means
what that.
nothing. It's like
It's
it depends on the context. Yeah, I had a whole
I,
conversation with my 14-year-old about that. He's like, "Skibbity Ohio toilet water," and I'm like, "What are you saying?" He's like, "Well, and toilet water means," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, man." It's like when that moment when we realize we become our parents. Like, I don't
yeah,
know what these kids are saying anymore. It's so funny.
it's a
So funny.
terrifying thought. So, speaking of that, right? If you need a therapist, you can train a therapist to actually have a conversation with you about how to understand what it feels like to be old, which is probably the next AI employee I'll create because I feel extremely old with
Yeah,
two young ladies while I'm in my mid 40s. It's exhausting.
yeah. It's fun though, and I think I use so much AI that he kind of make my oldest son makes fun of me. He's just like, "Oh, who told you that?" GPT. I'm like, "Well, who told you that? TikTok?" Like his sort. We have different
Yeah.
sources. It's just great. It's funny.
Yeah. So, but that's it, man. That's how I live the dream. When I tell you that I wanted to figure out how to spend as much time as possible with the three loves of my life, this is why I do it. And the three people that work for me, our company goal is to not work more than 10 hours a week. And I don't think we do because we have AI employees for whatever it is that we need. And so my staff can write stuff in my voice, and I don't have to scour everything that they're writing because
Right.
I know I've trained these AI employees in very specific ways, so our processes are sound.
So let's finish with this. If I watched all of this and it went, phew, okay, I'm like,
Hmm.
they're like two nerds talking, and I know what's happening there. We're cool nerds, though, everybody. Okay, the could they
Very
just?
cool.
Yes, very cool. Could they just hire you? Is there like a? Can you do this for somebody? Because I get that a lot, and I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't know if I want to make AI agents for you, but this is something that you do, right?
Yes. Yep. So a couple of ways. If we go back here, I've got a little code. You can sign up for our ultimate guide
Oh,
to AI employees. It's, excuse me, it's a Google Doc that we update on a fairly regular basis that'll at least give you a very quick overview of what we just spoke about.
okay. So
It's
scan that QR code.
hmm and I'll leave this up here while we finish up. But it's we update it. It's meant to be very easy to understand. The only thing that you have to keep in mind with this stuff is that if you're able to work with people, you're able to use AI employees. You just have to kind of think about it in terms of how you document that interaction. That's it. So if you can't work with people, good luck using AI because you're just not going to have as much success as other folks would. Funny enough, the thing that's going to take all of our jobs to use it the best, we have to know how to be a person. If you want to discuss how it is that we can help you monetize this inside of your business, we have a specific program for individual agents that uses AI employees to monetize their networking. Because I'm sure you, as a real estate professional, you go to a lot of places and talk to a lot of people, and you get a lot of business cards thrown at you. Everybody who's trying to sell you something. Well, you can turn that into money and only work a couple hours a month doing it using AI employees. And if you're a brokerage or a school, we have an entire system set up to where it is that you can use what we call the 90-minute marketing department and then resell it to your agents or your students as an upsell. And then we handle the process of training them using the systems that we have in place. So it's great for you because you get all of the crazy intelligence and amazeballs type stuff that you saw today
Yeah,
put into 31 AI employees, and we're actually going to go out there and help you sell it and make some money off of it.
that's very interesting. We're gonna have to talk offline.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. Well, Jeremiah's JMan Monero with JMan Speaks. Thank you, Robert Lee with the Lee6. Lee6. Did I get it?
You got it, man.
Lee6.
100%.
It sounds okay. The Lee6 agency. We thank him, and we're gonna put all of these. If you're watching this on the playback, everything's gonna be in the comments as well as the description. So if you're watching this on YouTube, check the description. If you're watching this on Facebook, it'll be in the comments as well as the description. But thanks for tuning in. Jeremiah's J-Man Monero, J-Man Speaks. Make it a great day.